What do you know? Another Tuesday night. Awesome to be back. It's been a little while. I think with all the with all the darn summer stuff and all of these good things, it's tough to kind of keep up with some of these Tuesday night things once in a while. But it's good to be back. Good to see so many faces that I'm familiar with and all of that. So faces, names, and all that good stuff. So we should be good to go. We had some slight technical difficulties. It's the way it goes with this good stuff. So you can always count on technical difficulties. I'm just happy it's not me for one time. It's usually me that's having or running some shit show over here on my side, but we're good to go. But anyway, appreciate everybody for joining tonight. Going to be fun. And I kind of came across Mike's channel and Instagram stuff. I don't know. I'm going to say probably a month or two ago. And I thought, man, this guy, he's kind of killing it on the old Instagram. And so anyway, reached out to him a little while ago and asked if he'd want to come on and do the live stream. And he was nice enough to agree. And I think you'll appreciate like his approach to it. It's for my assessment, like watching it, it's no BS. It is what it is. And you're whatever that is, it is. So that part of it, I really appreciate that kind of just approach to it. So it's kind of refreshing in the day and age of everybody trying to deceive everybody with things. So anyway, let me say hi to a few people that were in here early on, and I'll bring Mike and I think he said his brother, right? Brother. All right. I think so. Cool. All right. Danny, JG. Yeah, I saw this before. So we were, Mike and I were chatting before. Somehow this might be doppelgangers. That's for sure. So yeah, I don't know. It depends on whether or not he's older than me or younger. Then he could be junior, or maybe he's dad. I don't know. Maybe he's Papa. I don't know. We'll find out tonight. So cheers, Matt. Good to see you. Top Dog, Johnny. Good to see you. The Schwartzes, Mark, Kim. Good to see you. Roy. Good to see you, brother. Mr. Henson. Good to see you. Roger Reese, good to see you. I saw you were on vacation. Looked like you're having a good old time. Sugar Kitty, good to see you. Mr. Mustang, good to see you. Mr. Cornet, good to see you. The Ninja, good to see you. All right, I think I've got everybody. We're all kind of caught up. Boyd, good to see you. Timmy, I think I said hi to you. Mr. Wade Ward, good to see you. All right, let's go. The Turks, good. There's the better of the Turks for sure. I'm sure the other one's lurking somewhere along the way. So, all right, rather than waste any more time, let's bring the man and men, I guess we'll say at this point of the hour, and we'll get the party started. How's it going, gentlemen?
Hey, what's up, Scott?
How you doing, brother? Or should I say father, son? Where are we at with this thing? Where we at?
I'm good with the doppelganger thing. I've got a few out there. I've been accused of distant relations with lots of people. So
okay, all right.
I'm honored to be your brother from another mother.
All right, we'll go with that tonight. Right back at you. So hey, thanks first of all for agreeing to do it. Like I'm glad you were kind of willing and wanted to have fun with this, and that's really what it's all about. You have fun with stuff on the Instagram, and I figured, well, let's bring that same energy over here. So I think we'll be good to go.
Yeah, I don't take myself too seriously. I started this whole YouTube, Instagram thing really on a whim. I've been into bourbon for about 5 years now. I've always been like an Elijah Craig barrel proof drinker.
Yep.
The B519 was the one that really hooked me. Before that I was more of a martini and Jameson kind of guy.
All right, so back then it was bougie. It sounds a little bougie that we got going on here, but no judging.
But I'm developing.
That's good. But that was the thing. With all of this stuff, like we had mentioned before, there's always that starting point. We all had wherever the beginning of our bourbon journey, was. So like going back, I know you said 2019. What was it? I know you went from clear spirits, and I'm sure you probably still enjoy that stuff, but to kind of shift over into bourbon. I mean, honestly, that's a that's a big jump. There's a big gap there. So what was that moment, and what was that whiskey, or was it the B519? Was that what kind of tripped for you?
Yeah, the B519, it really kind of opened my eyes to what a real whiskey and something that was elegant could be, you know.
Yeah.
And I really, I got tired of drinking for effect, you know, and I wanted to, you know, you see folks, you know, drinking fine spirits and enjoying themselves and maybe pairing with a cigar. And to me, it appealed to me because it was my chance to kind of slow down, you know, and figure out a different type of lifestyle, you know, because, but yeah, that was kind of the genesis of it all.
Yeah. Well, you know, and oftentimes, you know, I mean, you know, now knowing, I mean, from kind of shifting gears a little bit in 2019, you know, from clear spirits to now bourbon, it, like you mentioned, it's a different approach. And for me, kind of like you, one of the parts of bourbon I think I enjoy the most oftentimes is the fact that this all lets you slow way down. You know, you're not going to plow through this stuff, you know, as much as you will cocktails or maybe even some vodka, things like that, especially if you're maybe drinking some higher proof stuff. So, you know, not only is that, but, you know, maybe you sit around with some of your buddies or cigars, whatever it may be, but it all allows you to just truly slow down and just enjoy whatever it is that you're doing, you know, in the moment.
Exactly.
You know, so.
I never took the time to stop and think about, you know, what whiskey could provide, the tasting experience and the flavor profiles and all of those things. And, you know, if you really sit down with a nice bottle, and you take your time and you examine what's in it, and you try to identify flavor notes, it's fun. And so I wanted to go from what was, you know, like a kind of a frat boy mindset to something, you know, more sophisticated, and slow it down, and let's make some discovery. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's the fun part of whiskey. I think, you know, oftentimes for me, I can enjoy like smelling or nosing a bourbon as much, if not more than tasting it. And
exactly. I could sit for 10 minutes, just nose. And I'll be here on the couch with my wife, and she's like, "What are you doing? You've been sitting here with, you know, half an ounce in that Glencairn for 30 minutes." I was like, "Well, I'd rather nose, and then I would actually taste it." You know, it's weird.
Yeah. All right. So, brother, how did it all start for you?
Actually, I kind of got into this so that I can have more intelligent conversations with my brother about his hobby. And then all of a sudden, you know,
you lost me at you two having intelligent conversations. let's back out 30. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, trying to have intelligent conversations. So I started doing a little bit more research. You know, I started watching more videos and, you know, YouTube channels and things like that. And got really into it, and I found that I kind of gravitated more towards the hunts, you know, that people were doing. And then watching my brother do his hunts, you know, I was like, oh man, I get to live vicariously through him, you know. And, you know, that was always really, been really fun to watch. And now that I've kind of grown a taste for bourbon, you know, other than just like Bullet and, you know, other things that are kind of like, you know, well, kind of stuff.
mainstream things with mass appeal.
Right.
Yeah. Now that was the other thing that I wanted to go and seek out. It's like, okay, I don't want what's available at Costco. You know, I want to taste craft stuff, right? I want to taste the elevated Heaven Hill, the Michter's products, the Ofo stuff, right? And, you know, even the things here in California. You know, we got some great distilleries here in California. You know?
That's an interesting approach. And I think honestly, everyone kind of starts there. See, I think going back when I first kind of started getting into it, craft stuff was literally that. There was not a lot of that stuff that you can get from, let's say, a craft distillery now that has some age. Like it was literally a year, maybe 2 years old. So when you were trying craft whiskey, you were like really, really trying young stuff that was not from Kentucky. So you had to like really try to dissect this stuff to figure out like what that profile was. So like early on when I was kind of first getting into it, I went through a lot of those. That was my first kind of approach into whiskey, was again a little bit like you, wanting to try everything. Like I couldn't buy in, like I wanted to buy everything. I wanted to taste everything. I was just like a man out of control. And
put a hole in your credit card real quick, Scott.
Yeah, it'll kind of catch up, you know, and the wife had something to say about it, but I kind of promised that, oh, it won't continue to be like that. Now we're probably whatever 8-10 years into this whole thing, and we're
I can't repeat the things my wife has told me about my activities the last 6 months, man. It's just, you know.
Yeah, it could be pretty brutal. There's no doubt about it. But I like what you said about, like, again, just trying to gives you two, if nothing else, and there's nobody else there, it gives you guys a chance to slow things down, have some conversation, find out about what's going on. Because again, if you're drinking that stuff too fast, that conversation is not going to last very long. Drinking that high proof stuff, you know, that'll be a short conversation. So, but again, it's cool that you guys have that, and you can kind of share that time and be able to kind of just really slow things down. So.
Yeah, my brother, you know, he's in a crossroads in his life, and you know, we've been hanging out a lot more, and bourbon has kind of facilitated that connection. It's really been great. The timing has been perfect. You know, he enjoys it, I enjoy it, so we get a chance to go out. We go hunting together. Yeah, you know, we bond, a little quality time, and we've managed, you know, a lot of living in the last 6 months. You know, a lot of good times together. Yeah. You know, just over bourbon.
Yeah. And that's right. Important. I mean, that's very important. I mean, you know, not only from a personal standpoint, but I mean, I think honestly, a lot of the people that are in the chat or rewatch this stuff later on, it's exactly that. I mean, I think bourbon has done, I'll say whiskey in general, has done that for a lot of people, and really allowed, you know, people to come together, whether it's 2 people, 100 people, it doesn't matter what the quantity of people is. One thing amongst everybody is you've got that one thing in common, which has brought everybody or just 2 people together, you know, in that moment. Yeah, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's tongue in cheek and kind of cliche, but it's a real thing, you know. And I've had people reach out to me on IG. You know, I've only been, I think I started my Instagram page about 6 months ago, maybe 5 months ago. The YouTube channel is only about 2 months old. Yeah. And, you know, I've already made some great connections, great friends, man, people who want to share samples, people who want to share knowledge, people who want to meet up, you know? Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, it's a great community. It's the better side of Instagram. Scott, I know you've seen the bad side of Instagram. Everybody here has seen the bad side of Instagram. I don't want to go back there. I'm gonna stay on the whiskey side of Instagram, man.
Yeah, it can. I mean, and again,
warm and pleasant.
Yeah, that stuff again. I mean, all of it. You know, from whiskey to content stuff. I mean, all of it can obviously get out of control. And there's good, bad. You know, in the middle, there's all of that kind of stuff. And again, how you manage all of that is key, because you know you can let it get out of control if you don't allow it to, which hopefully you don't. Yeah, I mean, it can steer you down a road that you don't want to go. You know, and you've probably seen some of it already, and everyone's probably seen it who's done this for any period of time. So, you know, kudos for even, you know, recognizing, you know, some of that stuff. So, but anyway, all right. So let's kind of move along a little bit. Let's talk a little bit. I know you had sent some kind of questions and things before, and I know you're into hunting way more than I am. Like I gave it up. I gave it up a long time ago. I lost patience. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. And honestly, part of it has a lot to do with running the club, you know, with Jason and all of that we get a lot of good whiskey. So it makes you not only a little bit lazy, but that hunt has kind of worn off for me a little bit. I get why people want to do it, because it's fun, it's exciting, all of that. What does it mean for you or you guys when you're doing it? What are you kind of looking to get out of it?
Well, the reason I like hunting so much is you never know what you're gonna find, right? And you know, serendipity has always kind of been on my side. you go to these obscure spots like out in the valley where I live, or maybe sometimes in the Bay Area, the San Francisco Bay Area. You go to some of these liquor stores where maybe the clientele aren't looking for fine whiskey. Maybe you can find that old. I was just at Junior's Liquors in Castro Valley, and they had discovered a case of a Knob Creek rye. It was a cask strength rye from 2018, and they had 9 of them sitting on the shelf. I grabbed one. I'm going to go back tomorrow and grab another one. But that's the reason I like to do it. Is you find those gems that people have overlooked, or even I was at Ledger's Liquors, which is it's really kind of an iconic spot in Berkeley, California. If you go in there, I don't know if you've been, but Ledger's Liquors it's like the equivalent of a dive bar for liquor stores. And there's absolutely zero. I mean, I don't mean this as any form of disrespect to the owners, but you go in there, and behind the counter there's no organization. Nothing's organized. They took all of their stock and they put it on shelves, and you literally have to go through and look for the things, look for product, and look for things that you might want to take home. And to me, that's the appeal. It's not about going out and trying to negotiate or talk somebody down. Hey, I want to pay $550 for that lot B. Or okay, well, what's your price on the CYPB? No, it's not about that. It's about finding the old stuff.
Yep.
And to me, that's the appeal. And then also, I just I like going out and talking to the owners. Getting to know folks.
Yeah. I mean that used to be like when I first got into it. I was just kind of starting to hit as things were starting to kind of ramp up. I was a little bit before that, so I could go and find things that were out there. I got lucky with a lot of things early on, but quickly, probably a year and a half, in that all really started to change quite a bit. The popularity had grown significantly, and finding anything on a shelf was nearly impossible. And if you did, maybe it was marked up, kind of like it is now. But, again, I get that, because I remember that time of just walking into a liquor store. I did it down in Chicago several times where.
Benny?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Benny's? Was it Benny's you went to?
No, it wasn't Benny's. No.
Okay.
I mean, Benny's is a big one, kind of like you were talking about. I went to some places that, maybe I didn't belong there. And
who would deny you access, Scott? Come on, man.
It was one of those things where it was like there were some rougher areas that I went into to find this stuff, because I saw or heard, whatever it may be, that there might be some great whiskey there. So I went in, and lo and behold, there were, back then you could find like Elmer T. Lee, all the Weller, like that stuff was everywhere. Maybe back, when they were starting to release some of the Booker's Ryes, like those were available. Now that was $300 back then. If I bought a $300 bottle, I may as well come home with divorce papers. That was not going to happen. I can tell you that. So I left that there, but there was so many things. Not really Pappy, that stuff. I don't know how much of that was really that available unless you go back, several years, and maybe things were sitting around. But I had a pretty good run like early on, but I get that excitement. It's that unknown of walking in and you don't know what you're going to run into. It's just the way it is. And it was pretty, your heart gets beaten a little quick when you start seeing things and you don't know exactly what it is, but it was a pretty awesome feeling. So
cool.
All right. So I know we are also going to talk a little bit about some bottles that maybe you're excited for. I saw the list you had. That's a pretty good list. There's one on there that I'm like really excited for, but I guess for you, maybe give me, or you guys give me 3 bottles that you're, I guess, excited for that are releasing before too much longer.
I'm going to let you go on that.
Well,
I don't have any. I'm not sure what I'm looking forward to.
Man, everyone's always looking for the BTAC stuff in November and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to that Michter's Toasted Barrel.
Ooh.
Yeah. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. But I mean, other than that, you know, yeah, I'm really looking to add to my collection in. So I'm trying to think now. I cannot remember now what was the other bottle that I was waiting on. There's a Booker.
I mean, there's always the Elijah Craig barrel proof. And that one's right around the corner.
Yeah,
that C batch is about ready to launch here pretty soon.
C924, of course. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the list escapes me right now. I'd have to look at my phone. But there's a few. There's a little book that's coming out, and there's also.
Are you gonna hunt for the birthday bourbon? Are you gonna get down there and kind of do?
Yeah, that's the other one. I mean, the birthday bourbon. If you look at the stats, I think Jason C was talking about that and say he was even willing to go out and maybe even pay over retail for that. But yeah, the birthday bourbon, of course. You know, I've got the 2021 bottle, and that's a great expression. But
You're welcome.
Oh yeah.
Did you luck? I don't know if you said it before or not, but did you luck into a Russell's 15?
Yeah. So the good thing is I'm gonna drink now. We have a little.
We'll pour something.
Maybe we'll pour a little bit.
Yeah, 23C. But yeah. So I've been working graveyard, and my wife, she was able to get into the cart, the Russell's 15, like I was. And then, so about 10 minutes later, she comes out of the bathroom. It's like, did you check out yet? I was like, yeah. No, I did not check out. And she goes, yeah, I've already processed my payment. So yeah, we were lucky enough to get that. I know a lot of people are frustrated. Hopefully Wild Turkey and Campari, they can figure out the payment processing and the whole procurement process. But
well, I'm sure that was probably just like I'm sure it probably crashed the site, and it sounded like there were a lot of people that had that issue where they weren't able to get on and things were happening. And I heard of a couple people doing it. I didn't try myself, and I probably should have, but I probably should have. Let me ask you this: in your opinion, after having it in today's day and age of some pricier bourbons that are out there, is it to you or you guys worth the $250 at SRP for you?
Well,
how do you look at that?
I've got this right here, and this was a controversial one, right? Mm-hmm. The Triumph, and a lot of people are saying, you're crazy for paying $300 for a 10-year ride. And so I'm a little bit crazy. So yeah, maybe, yeah, but yeah, I get it. Campari, they know what they've got. All the turkey fans out there, a lot of us. They're going to pay whatever the asking price is. But
yeah. And again, that's subjective, how much you're willing to pay. I mean, that's again, dependent on a lot of things, so if you want to buy it, hey, it's your money. I mean, whatever, it is what it is. I know people try to say things aren't worth certain amount. Well, it's worth it if you bought it. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you enjoy that or that's your thing, then fine, buy it. I don't know. I just had it for the first time about 2 weeks ago down in Kentucky. And again, like in my mind, I'm always trying to like somehow equate that to some other profile of something that resonates, in my mind. I try to think, what is this worth? Like that $300? Did I buy or have something else that was close to this that was maybe a fraction of the price? And again, it's probably by fault me doing this. It's like wanting to analyze all of these things when it's like, hey, dummy, if you just want to buy it for $300 and you like it, fine, great. It's as simple as that. So at the end of the day, if you enjoy it, you paid $300 for it and you're good with it, fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's how I feel. Like if you're gonna spend money on something and you enjoy it, like it's not a waste of money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as you're happy with what you're drinking and what you purchased, there's no time. There's no money wasted on it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of those things, and again, by fault, I probably do it just in constant trying to compare everything to things, and it's so much more than that. It just has to be beyond just trying to compare everything price wise to one other thing. It's you know, it really, again, it's as simple as just making this thing out to, if you really enjoy it and you don't mind spending whatever it is you spend on it, then fine. You know, for some people, it's $50, 300, 1,000, $3,000. There's all these different numbers of what someone's willing to pay for something.
Yeah.
You know, so again, that's also subjective, you know. So
I mean, the idea of value, that's something that exists inside the mind, as opposed to, you know, you having something that's objective. But, you know, I think some of the market too, you know, these people just want some, you know, some shelf trophies. But, you know, for me, you know, this is my first Master's Keep product. And, you know, I had the Voyage, which is also a rye, I believe, right? The Voyage was also a rye. And I've tasted both, and this is much better. I love the orange notes, the citrus notes in this. I mean, this guy right here, it drinks more like a bourbon. I know a lot of people have said this. This bottle right here, it drinks more like a bourbon than it does a rye. And I don't know if that's good or bad, because I like rye spice and big bold flavors just as much as anyone else. I'm a big rye fan. It wasn't always that way. You know, I started out as a bourbon weeder guy, you know, and a big proof guy. Of course, you know, I love the Elijah Craig barrel proof stuff, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, I
mean, that's, you know, again, at the end of the day, to each their own, right? I mean, it's as simple as that. So in buy what you like and enjoy what you like. It's that. So that was a nice, when I had it a couple weeks ago, it was a nice rye, you know. So again, it wasn't my money. I tried it. It was the first time I had tried it, and I enjoyed it. Nice little pop right there. So
yeah. Oh, look at that. That thing's heavy. That's like a Frey Ranch top there. Yeah.
I think what it was is the box was $150, and I think that right there was a $50 top. That's what it is.
It's $40.
That's what it was. So the rye whiskey is about $70. The bottle is about $30. The box $150, and the cork is about $50. So there you go. There's your $300.
I'm not even gonna go fresh Glen on this one. Let's see. Hey, go ahead, kill that, man.
Oh man, I will. Give me a second.
Yeah. I bet your conversations drinking are probably pretty quick.
Yes, probably not safe for you two.
We didn't get a palate warmer down. We had lots of technical difficulty. Everyone, sorry. Yeah, we're a little bit late getting on. I bought a.
Watch the glass.
That says watch that glass. Watch that glass. Too late.
Wow.
So are you? Are you by choice? Is your distillery of choice Wild Turkey, or are you a fan of Heaven Hill? Or
I'm a Heaven Hill fan. Yeah, through and through. I love the Pikesville rye.
Yeah.
I don't have a bottle right now. I killed one a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, I'm big. Larceny. Everything from Larceny last year was a hitter, banger. Yeah. I think everyone would agree about that. I mean, I got 7 or 8 bottles of Larceny sitting over here in the pantry, man. I love Larceny. Of course, I love Elijah Craig barrel proof. You know, all the heritage stuff. I don't have any Parkers right now. I mean, that stuff, God, man, the secondary on that's insane.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, maybe it's easier to get where you live, you know, maybe somewhere east of the Rockies. You know
one of the first bottles my brother told me to purchase was the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, which is like about a $45, $50 bottle.
Yep.
You know, entry level. It was really good. And
it's a fantastic bottle. I've still got a bunch of, actually downstairs or somewhere else. I've got a bunch of the old kind of, I don't even know if you know, but they're kind of like a square bottle. It was kind of a cheap looking little old.
Never heard.
Heaven, yeah, they were just kind of, there was a green label which was 90 proof, and I think the other one was the Bottled and Bond, just an old style one, but same stuff. I know when they kind of flipped everything over, there was a lot kind of going on with that, but yeah, at the end of the day, that bourbon is just it's just a nice solid bourbon for whatever $45 or whatever it may be. Yeah. You can't go wrong with that one at all. So that's a good one. Let me ask you guys this. So now that you've kind of gotten into this a little bit, and someone said, "Hey, Bird's Eye, what would you recommend I kind of start out with? What would you tell somebody to?" Now, I'll ask this in 2 parts. If someone wants a bourbon or a rye that they can not only use for cocktails, but for you in your mind, that's good enough for sipping. What is that bourbon or rye for you?
Whew. So if we're looking for something that's going to be docile and good for the beginner, man, I hate to say this, but the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, I use that as a palate warmer. That is the bourbon for me. And some people say, well, this is the Buffalo Trace standard expression, but Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond, it's unbeatable, especially at the price point. You could find it routinely and consistently for under $20.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you beat that?
4
years of age, 100 proof, right?
Yeah.
And I know everyone's going to say, oh, that's a big surprise. Yeah, that's fine. But
well, and there's nothing. And again, at the end of the day, that's like a great bourbon. If you've got something again at that proof point, at the price point that it is, generally speaking, I would say nowadays it's pretty readily available. It wasn't for a little while when they kind of did the change, but now you see it just about everywhere. I would have no problems. I think it's still, great for not only sipping, but if you want to still use it, at $45 for cocktails, not going to break the bank. So I think it's a winner on both fronts. Yeah. For me, oftentimes at a good price point that offers like a really good value, like the Old Forester Signature 100 for me is one that I seem to want to like recommend to a lot of people for probably, I'm going to say sub $25. I still think you get a lot more out of that bourbon than you do a lot of them, especially in that kind of price range. So for me, for cocktails, it's definitely, price friendly. For sipping, I think it still has enough backbone that allows for anybody to sip on that and really, really kind of truly enjoy it. So for me, honestly, like I find this is kind of an interesting thing for me, is that I find myself recommending or suggesting Old Forester more than I drink it. I know that's weird to say, but I know like the profile of it, and just I find myself drinking other things for whatever other reason. But I know for a lot of people, it generally hits in kind of all fronts. There's nothing that's very offensive about it. It just seems to work really well. Have you had the Old Forester, that signature one?
That's the other pour that I would recommend is the 1920. I mean, it's tried and true. 115 proof. Yeah. You can find it anywhere.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe the proof's a little bit higher for a palate warmer, but I mean it'll stand up in a cocktail because you get that proof punch, right? And then all the flavors that you expect from a good brown forman product. 1920. That was probably the other bourbon that really got me interested in whiskey was 1920 and Elijah Craig barrel proof.
Yeah. Well, those are two, and they're two amazing pours. I mean, at the end of the day, and I've said it a lot of times that I think with the 1920, I'm almost positive you could take that bourbon in that bottle and pour it into a fancy bottle from, Old Forester and tell them that it's a special release and people would buy it. They'd believe it. It's good enough. It's good enough. It's good enough, in my opinion, that I think you could trick a lot of people into thinking.
Yeah, you can put that in President's Choice. Hey, this is President's Choice, and people will be like, "Oh, this is the best thing I've ever had."
Yeah, I mean, maybe that would be a little bit of a stretch. I know, like even like King of Kentucky. I'm not comparing those. I mean, that's some of the best whiskey I've ever had. So, but again, like the 1920, I think just like you had mentioned before, as a higher proof, kind of daily bourbon. I mean, man, it's really hard to beat that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say the ones that I enjoy the most are probably Rare Breed. Like that was, something that's affordable and, attainable, and you can find it almost anywhere.
Yep.
The 1792 full proof, I'm in love with that. Yeah. But I'm kind of I found that I'm more of a proof snob, I guess. I like the higher proof whiskeys.
Okay.
But I also really like the me and my brother. Actually, I found a Old Forester Bevmo pick that 130. It was like a 130 proof. Oh, it was amazing. The
Yeah.
single barrel strength. Is that what it was? The 04
Man, you need to try this.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
quit talking and drink that.
all right. I'll shut up. You guys can.
Scott, man.
Yeah.
Do you have that bottle?
I do not. I didn't buy it. I had it, but
That I almost cursed. That right there is outstanding. The finish on that, people say, "Oh, it doesn't have the finish, man. Triumph, it's weak. Good. It's late. Yeah, the finish is too." No, this is amazing. Citrus, caramel. It drinks like a bourbon, but it's still got that spice hit on the mid palate and the finish. I mean, my tongue's still on fire. Wow, my tongue's still on fire. This is an outstanding bottle.
And that's the best part of it. You know, that's, again, it's one of those spirits that is totally subjective and you like what you like, you know, but they're all of these different flavors. As much as it's the same, it's different, but that's the cool part of it, is enjoying something that you simply enjoy. It's awesome. But I know you had mentioned before 1792, like the full proof. It's a great bottle, and I think it's still one that remains, in my opinion, you know, fairly underrated. I think Barton and as a whole seems to be a little bit like underrated. I mean, they don't do like a lot of crazy special releases. You know, they don't do all of that stuff that we all want, you know, so they just kind of sit there in the background, you know, oftentimes kind of like Four Roses, you know, maybe minus their LE. Four Roses just does their thing. You know, a lot of these guys, you know, Buffalo Trace, you know, they're into all of the hype and I don't want to say marketing, but you know, there's some of that stuff behind it. And maybe we all kind of promote that stuff.
That's a Kirin brand, right? It's a Japanese brand, isn't it?
Who's that?
Four Roses? It's Kirin. It's owned by Kirin, isn't it?
I thought Four Roses. Why, for some reason, I thought Four Roses still remained independent, unless they're I don't think they're Diageo. I don't know. I don't. But I don't even know.
Kind of explain some of the modesty. You know, they stand. They let the product speak for itself. You know.
Yeah, and you know, and again, to each their own. And there's marketing departments and big money behind some of these things. And again, oftentimes things that have a lot of big money behind them doesn't. You guys know this. It doesn't make the bourbon or whiskey, you know, better, you know. So you know, again, I think it's just through trial and error and trying all these different things and figuring out what it is you like, you know, what is of value to you, what is, you know, something that is, you know, overpriced to you. That's a good question. Since you paid $300 for that, what
let me tell you something. So I was on Instagram earlier, and I was looking. I forget who it was. It might be I forget whose page it was, and they were going through all the price groups, right? So they were going from 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50, etc. And they got up to the $90 to $100 price point. And I said, wait a minute, where's the Campari price group?
Yeah.
I was waiting for the Campari price group, man. Come on, you let me hang it.
And that's interesting, because Wild Turkey, if you think about it, when you break it down, they're on oftentimes like both ends of the spectrum. They've got the really high end, and they've got extremely great value stuff. You know, so like, hey man, their Russell's 10 for $30. I mean, that's a great little bourbon. And there's another starter bourbon.
I just had that Russell's 10 for the first time. Oh my God. I was really surprised by it. My brother told me it was a great pour. You're going to enjoy it. I did. It was so good.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Okay. So it's a little bit of a flex, but that's okay.
Not really. Not really.
We got
okay.
We found these this one recently, the 13. No.
Yeah. So we just picked this up at Junior's Discount Liquor. Shout out to Junior's.
Yeah. Great shot. Great shot.
Yeah, I had this one, so of course I had to go and look for this one. But I'm gonna crack them soon. I'm gonna crack them now because I promised my wife I wouldn't, because my wife got my wife. I don't know. She's working some kind of magic. She's a whiskey wizard, man. She knows. Yeah. I've got a Frey Ranch 100% weeder. They only released 200 bottles online, and she was able to card it and process her payment. Same thing with this guy. I didn't get this. My wife got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the wild turkey, but nobody wanted that because they didn't want to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Hey, as long as your wife can get them, man, let her do whatever she's doing to get those. That's pretty awesome. So
No. I encourage her behavior, man. Trust me.
I encourage her. That's pretty. All right. So here's another. So when she gets them, is she lucky enough to be able to try them? Does she enjoy bourbon?
At first she did, but she's saying that it gives her stomach upset. Right. So every time I drink bourbon now, my stomach is aching afterwards. So that just means it's more for me. That's right.
Well, I was gonna say, has she tried drinking less than 8 glasses?
You keep paying for it, and I'll keep drinking. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say before. I mean, has she tried drinking less than 8 glasses?
Yeah.
maybe that's
that's my problem, not hers.
That's right.
That is true. That could lead to an upset stomach and amongst other things. But hey, I mean, as long as she's into it and sees that you enjoy it, obviously, then she's nice enough to help you out. And I mean, that's a pretty good score right there. So consider yourself lucky.
She supports me in my my hobby. Yeah. Yes.
We all have that issue. That's for sure. Yeah.
He got lucky.
Yeah.
So
she got lucky. Oh, what's wrong with you?
Hey.
she got lucky. She got lucky. Oh yeah. Not tonight. Yeah, we'll go with that. But so I was gonna ask before. So I know you were talking about like getting into things and like maybe breaking whiskeys down and wanting to kind of explore those. Are there things that you did or tried to do to improve upon those notes? What am I smelling? What am I tasting? Why? All of that. Is there anything that you do to do that?
That's my biggest insecurity. Right. So I'm kind of new to the whiskey community, I guess, and that's my biggest insecurity. Is like if you pressured me to identify the difference between something youthful and something that was over oaked, I'd be hard pressed, right, to make a decision about, okay, this one was aged for 2 years and this one was aged for 23. Like what's over oaked and what has that harshness, that mellow. What has that harshness that age mellows out, right? So I'm still trying to develop my palate, and that's why you don't see any tasting reviews on my channel. I'm basically just an unboxing and bourbon hunting guy. But I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to develop.
Well, I think a lot of it is just experience, and what I mean by that is foods, all of these different things like desserts, all of these things that kind of will resonate or whatever. And I think for me, what I did early on was I would take 3 or 4 things and just nose the heck out of them, just smell it. And then just keep going back and forth and doing all these different things that would kind of trigger something. There was something that would do it. So then I would start to look for that in other things. And I get it. Like the youthfulness on a lot of things came across as this very like sharp, like almost corn grain or a rye grain, something along those lines. But then when you start to smell something that has like a lot of oak, like your Russell's or like a 13 or a 15, like those are heavier oak notes. But again, like the barrel can have like such an influence on things that, again, tasting and smelling things can be 2 completely different things. So again, it's just a matter of just drinking and smelling a lot of these things, as bad as that kind of sounds. Again, it's just through a lot of repetition of trying a lot of these different things, So
this is what I wanted to ask you. What's your number one tip for palate development?
Yeah.
My number one tip. Well, so for me, like it really starts with nosing a whiskey. Like before I do any review, usually for, I'm going to say a week, 10 days, maybe 14 days, generally speaking, I want to like sit down with that whiskey, nose it, try all these different times of the day, all of these things. So I think just spending time nosing it, because oftentimes even when I do tastings, everyone wants to smell it for a fraction of a second and then drink it. And, in my opinion, again, there's no right or wrong way, but what I'd love for more people to do is spend more time smelling it. Just take your time, like, smelling that, because not only is that helping with what it is you're smelling, but it's also allowing for the senses to kind of fire up. So when you taste that, you are maybe going to start picking up a little bit of what you just smelled. So the mistake for me that I think a lot of people do is just rushing the entire process. Just
letting it sit.
Slow it down.
Like, let it sit for a little bit. Let it open up, because that ethanol, like when you first pour something that's, especially with something that's heavier proof, like all you're going to get is just this like ethanol bomb in your nose, and it's going to mess everything up. So like letting it sit and like open up for a while is always, a smart thing to do, when you want to try it, especially if you're trying something that higher proof.
100%.
I'm trying to get him to open up more.
Okay.
So he,
let me sit around for a little bit.
Maybe my message is being received here.
It clearly is. And again, that's all part of that slowing down process. There's no, it's not beer, you don't need to chug it. You don't need to do any of that stuff. So I think just overall, whether you're nosing it or tasting it, just take your time. Like that's the most important thing to me, to a lot of people, is first, just spend more time nosing it. I think that will do wonders for what it is you're about ready to taste. So, but anyway, that's my bourbon 101 right there. So,
the answer in all the answers in life, they're in the middle, right? It's always in the middle, not in the extreme. So take your time, slow it down.
Yep.
Speaking of slowing it down, I just poured that Screaming Titan. Are you a Redwood Empire fan, Scott?
It depends on which one it is. There are some of them that I enjoy. I've not had that though.
I'll send you a sample, brother. Don't worry.
Is this the cash strength?
Yeah. So it's 59% corn, so it's still a bourbon.
Yep.
And 30% wheat. So wheater. And trying it here for the first time. Careful.
Interesting. So clearly you enjoy, wheated bourbons. You like that profile though.
I'm from the South, man. We like sweet stuff. You like sweet tea, Scott? I like sweet tea.
I love sweet tea. So oftentimes I will get that note in something if it has that kind of that sweet herbal kind of note to it. Oftentimes it is a trigger for like a good old fashioned sweet tea. So can't go wrong with that. All right, so give us the bird's eye opinion of the Redwood Empire right there. Keep this professional too.
Yeah, we don't want to put on any lists or anything.
We got to keep this show serious here, okay?
Bourbon, no.
It's kind of a low proof. It's drinkable.
Yeah. What is the proof on this? Yeah, it is.
It's probably like 120.
No.
Yeah, but it's 138.
No. It's not 138. Trust me.
I have my glasses on. I can't read. Yeah, it's 96 proof.
96.
So that's relatively low proof.
So it's approachable for someone who's not,
Yeah, I mean,
it's not looking to get
caramel brown sugar on the nose.
Yep.
Oh God, the finish is. I've had 2 sips of this, and it's really strong.
Yeah, don't sleep on Redwood Empire for sure.
With that heavy wheat, do you pick up like a little bit of like that wheat or kind of grain note? Like if you start to think about it, do you taste that?
Yeah, it's not grain forward like a Frey Ranch would be. Like if you've had Frey Ranch.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the grain really stands out. This.
Hey, that's the one I have at home. That's the one I have at home. I just finished that bottle. I just killed it.
You don't have this one. Look at the sticker.
The pick that I had was a women's.
You're breaking my heart, Scott.
The one that I had was a women's of whiskey, Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yep. You had women?
No. Okay. Well,
you had women.
I don't have.
Scott.
I mean,
you just said keep it clean.
Oh my
God. This guy's over here talking about he had women.
No, there goes the monetization of this show.
You know what? YouTube.
We're past
No,
5 minutes.
we're
You can
sorry.
cuss now. You
We're
gotta
sorry.
be. You gotta be past 5 minutes.
Yeah.
10
Google.
minutes.
Now, here's what I'll say. Like when
We're
you're
doing-
talking Frey Ranch versus something even like that, this is where that kind of like terroir or just the fact that it's a little bit like Frey Ranch to me is you have to appreciate the grain forwardness of that whiskey. If you know, like going into that's what it's gonna deliver on the forefront to you, that you're gonna still get maybe great whiskey, but you can't compare that to like a profile of like a Kentucky whiskey. It's not that exactly. It's not that kind of profile. So if you don't compare that, you appreciate that for what it is, I think you'll appreciate more whiskeys, in general. So
When I had my first Free Ranch pour, my brother gave me the 100% or 100%. What was that one? The 100%
wheat.
Weeded. Yeah, probably.
Oh, I got that one. Hold on.
Okay, well, he gave that to me, and I was not ready for it. I was
Yeah.
not expecting the flavors that came out of it. It like
Yep.
the mouthfeel was like not like anything I'd ever had before. And
Yeah.
I was really surprised. I was like, because coming from someone who's never, I'm not as experienced as he is, and I haven't had as many different pours as he has. So
Mhm.
like having that like blew my mind. I was so blown away by the Free Ranch weeded. Oh my god, it's amazing.
But that's a cool perspective, because that gives you that kind of identifier of how different something like
Right.
really can be. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, when you go from like all you drink is bourbon, all you drink is Bullet, and all you drink is Jameson, and then you
Yep.
have something that's like a weeded Free Ranch. I'm like, I didn't know drinks could be like this. Like, I didn't know.
Do they have Texas Roadhouse where you live, Scott?
They do.
Okay, that right there is cinnamon butter, Texas. That's Texas Roadhouse cinnamon butter all day on the nose and vanilla frosting. This right here, I wish it was more widely available, because I would like everybody in the community to get an opportunity to try this. This thing right here,
It's so good.
I mean, I'm ashamed that I've drank that much because I want to save it. I got a second bottle of this, but this is an outstanding product. Shout out to Colby, Jesse Porter, Craig, all my friends at Frey Ranch, man. I got an opportunity to go back in their rick house and thief some of this expression. Maybe not this exact barrel,
right?
But I mean, it was.
And that's the 100% weeder right there.
Yeah, 100% weeder.
That's tough, man. When you're at 100% grain, that's can be a really difficult task to make those whiskeys. I don't want to say taste good. It's just, man, it's
you're all in. You're all in. This has got to work. It's got to work.
Yeah. That's a tough approach when you've got, one grain, and like you said, you need to make this thing work.
I mean, if you go with a tried and true or a proven mash bill, that's easy.
Yeah.
But when you're taking risks, you get something like this. But I just wish there were more. Alexa, be quiet. I wish there were more available.
Well, and they're fortunately, obviously with Colby and Ashley and them, owning the whole thing, they're able to take those chances, those risks, and see what it is that pays off. I mean, I'm sure every distiller has distilled something that just didn't work. I mean, everyone's gone down that that road. But hey, when you get something that maybe you don't expect something from, or the opposite of, man, I expect this to be really good, and it hits, that's got to be an awesome feeling. Yeah. Let's do this. We're getting close to the hour mark. What's with not only your Instagram but like the YouTube channel, what's the plan kind of going forward? What do you want to do with it?
Let me say something real quick.
Yeah.
So this is my first live stream ever. I don't do lives. I'm an introvert by nature. Okay. And I started my YouTube channel and my Instagram page because I wanted to make myself uncomfortable. I'm a big fan of being uncomfortable, right? I'm all about discipline, right? And hard work. And so for me, I decided 6 months ago. I'm going to go on this journey. We'll see what happens. I bought a camera. I didn't have high expectations. And I didn't know if people would connect. I didn't know if people would even be interested in my content. It didn't matter to me. But for me, it was about growth and development. And that's what I want people to know, is that I want to be a good member of the community and contribute, and hopefully people see that.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'll say this, and I said it to you before. That's what resonates.
I was in the shower, and I had decided I'm going to squeeze a lifetime of audacity into 5 minutes and say, you know what, I'm gonna go get a camera, and I'm just gonna go start shooting content, and we'll see what happens. And that's what Bird's Eye Bourbon is.
Well, hopefully you didn't start like while you got back and then we're in the shower with the camera stuff. That probably would have that would have been demonetized. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But.
Yeah. That's a paid website. That's why I have this bottle right here.
That's right.
That's for the next stream.
The MD.
Little Mad Dog right there. I remember that back from the college days. That stuff was cheap. You could get that stuff in Boone's Farm.
Oh,
those were the cheap ones because it was the only stuff you could afford. So that's the way it was.
You want to do some time traveling?
Yeah.
Drink some Mad Dog 2020.
Yeah. You want a headache?
You won't be able to explain the last 36 hours.
Yeah. It's probably something I would highly recommend people steering clear of, unless you want to like get sick or something like that. But so I mean, I'll say this. I mean, to me, that's what kind of like resonated with what it is that you do. Like, it looked like you're having a good time, and that's the most important, part of it. There was also that natural part of just, being, in front of a camera, if that's what gets you out of a shell or whatever, that's cool too. But if you can also combine that with something that you're, passionate about and enjoy doing it, I mean, it comes across pretty natural. I'll say that. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that, man. I'm just a guy out here. I want to showcase bottles where I go. Maybe we have some laughs,
Yep.
And that's pretty much it.
I mean, at the end of the day, if that's what it is, and that's what you enjoy doing, then you always have to do any of this stuff, for yourself. If you're doing it for a lot of other people, or likes and subscribers and all that, it's in my opinion the wrong approach. But having fun is the most important part. So.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's all about the tax write-off, Scott.
Part of that too. I fully am on board and aware of what that stuff can be. So, but
I hope the IRS isn't watching.
No, exactly. Well, yeah. I doubt the IRS is watching this. So, but I guess going forward is the plan just to kind of continue to have fun and kind of be in the community and do more of that stuff.
Yeah, we're going to do some distillery visits. I thought about doing tastings, but until I've trained my palate to the point where I feel comfortable giving an honest opinion about something, I'm not going to do that. I'm just having fun, man. I got a camera. I'm out here running around, me and this guy having fun. That's all this channel is about. And that's probably all it'll ever be about. We go out, talk to people, have a conversation, and that's it.
Yeah. A lot of times I like, my brother will tell me some bottles that he's like looking for, some things he's like trying to hunt for, and like places that have, an amazing selection. So on my end, I'm not in front of the camera, but when I'm like going around just like in my own life and I see a liquor store, and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll go in there. And like, it happened a couple of times where I just kind of popped in, and then, we get a great video out of it, or we get like, a great store with an amazing owner that's willing to like have conversations with you. You make that friendship, and now they're already talking about inviting us to tastings and barrel picks and things like that.
You have friends?
Okay. I have a lot of friends.
You kind of just nailed like the whiskey and the community as a whole right there. I mean, that's the thing. And that was probably the biggest part. And one of the things that still, keeps me doing a lot of these things is a lot of the people and friends that I've met along the way have been incredible. And that's the best part, is that all of these events and different things you go to, you have different conversations. You talk to, different, people, what different beliefs, whatever it may be. None of that shit matters. It's all about like kind of the moment, enjoying things, and just kind of having fun with the whole thing. As long as you're doing that, I think you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I'm a neophyte, Scott. I appreciate you having us on. I want to be a little known thing, and I want to make this very clear to everybody who is watching. Right? I don't fawn for subscribers. Right? I don't have a Patreon. I'm not asking for anything. For me, this was just about I'm going to catalog what I'm doing, and if you want to follow along, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. Yeah. I love my subscribers. I love the people who follow along, but as far as I'm concerned, it's just me. It's just about me making myself uncomfortable. Right. And I'm very uncomfortable right now. And, I see some thumbs down, and that's cool. Hey, I love the haters, Scott. If you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. That's what
there's always that stuff. There always will be that stuff. And anybody can click buttons and do all these things, and that's fine. Cool. I mean, not everything is for everyone, and that's perfectly fine. You'll get the people who want to dive into what it is that you want, that your message and all of that. Those people will always support you. The haters eventually just go away and move on to something else.
You know what? Look, Bird's Eye Bourbon is all about the aerial view. That's the genesis of this, right? It's like I wanted to know everything. It's like production, logistics. What's the 3-tier system? What's tasting? What are the tasting? What are the things that are involved in tasting, right? And then also, what is the history, right? And that's why I call my channel Bird's Eye Bourbon, because I want to take an aerial view of the community, right? And that's it.
I'm glad you said what that was, because I meant to ask you how you got the name. But that's a cool perspective, because if you're looking down on everything and you want to take it all in, that's a pretty good. I
want to see how everything is interconnected, right? Because we're all interconnected.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy with a camera, man.
We're all that.
Yeah,
we're all that. We're all that.
Whatever. Yep. And so I'm really happy to say, I know there's some people. Someone sent me a message the other day. It was like, "Oh, monkeypox is a thing." So I'm happy to report I don't have listeria or monkeypox.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. People. I mean,
I don't think so.
At the end of the day, it's easy to be a keyboard warrior or thumbs down or whatever they'll say. You got to take that stuff with a grain of salt. Now, I'll give you this before we go. This is a little bit of an old school. So this is probably going back now around 2015 when I was first kind of starting to think about the channel stuff. And YouTube, it was a thing, but I didn't really know anything about it. So my idea, like you, was I wanted to have a video diary. That was the idea. So as I tasted things, I wanted to be basically, record what this was. Cause in my mind, then I could go back and I had all these like crazy
memoir, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I wanted like a video diary of what it was that I was doing. So anyway, I do that. And I kind of stuffed myself in front of a phone at the time. It was bad. And I was deer in headlights, didn't know anything about anything. And somehow I got that video onto YouTube and uploaded it. And I had no idea that people would see that. And then someone commented on it. Like it was, I don't even know what it was. Like, what is this bozo doing? He doesn't know. I'm like, oh my God.
You look like Mike from Bird's Eye Bourbon, Scott.
I'm like,
what are you doing, man? You impersonator?
I was like, oh man, I was so like, I'm like, I don't think I can ever do this again, but I'm glad I didn't and just kind of carried on. But again, that was the whole thing of just starting out and doing it and then getting eventually comfortable doing things. And even more than that was getting into the environment, meeting people, enjoying things, stories, all of that. And here we are. I'm always fascinated by people's stories and how they get into it and why they continue to kind of stay in the hobby. So I appreciate you guys kind of sharing a little bit of, kind of behind the Bird's Eye Bourbon.
Well, I appreciate you having us on, man. It means a lot. I do, again, it's a young channel. I don't have any delusions of success. I don't. I really I care, but you know whatever happens, you know, people connect and people identify with my message or people enjoy some of my content. That's cool. Yeah, if not, that's cool too. You know. That's all good.
I mean, that's the best attitude, and just enjoy it as long as you enjoy it. You know, other good people will gravitate towards you. It's as simple as that. So
I'm all about good energy, good vibes.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's just honestly for me, like it's just a way for me to, you know, connect with my brother, you know, share something that's special, have some good drinks, you know, a little bit about bourbon, and you know, he's taught me so much, and you know, it's now okay. Now, you know, now I know what good bourbon is versus what, you know,
Stag's not good bourbon.
Not good bourbon is.
Get that stag out of here, man.
Yeah, get that trash out of there.
When I go to a bar and I, you know, ask for a Weller foolproof, you know, I know a little bit more what to expect as opposed to what like
Sherry
4 or 5 months ago. So
yeah. I mean, hey, that it's again at the end of the day, it's as simple as that. It's just slowing things down and enjoying, you know, whatever it is, the company. I mean, it's a great gateway to all of those other things. So
we'll end with this, Scott. I know I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
So I have a 1,000 follower Instagram giveaway that's still active. So go hit me up on Instagram, and I'm giving away.
What are you giving away?
I'm giving away an E.H. Taylor small batch.
You son of a
and
bitch.
one of these. Oh yeah, and one of those. I'll give a Glencairn away to the second runner-up.
Okay. They're beautiful Glencairns.
Oh, they are. They're sand etched, right? So you can wash the sky with that green sponge, right? Okay. The one that'll strip paint off the side of your house. Yeah. And this won't erode. Right, that Bird's Eye Bourbon logo will still be there. But cheers to everybody. Cheers to you, Scott. Man, you reached out.
You got it. You got it.
You're an angel.
Love the channel.
Appreciate it. Love the channel. And we love the.
Hopefully my wife hears that part of it.
Okay. Yeah. Scott's wife.
Scott's wife.
He's amazing.
He's amazing.
You lucky lady.
Top tier.
Hey, cheers to Scott's wife.
Yeah.
Cheers to Scott's wife.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks, guys. Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking a little bit of time and just kind of spreading the word and just keeping it real and having a good time. So you're always welcome back anytime. So everybody watching tonight, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you go and subscribe to Bird's Eye Bourbon on Instagram, YouTube, all of those good places, and you get some positive vibes. Bro, do you even lift?
No, man, I don't lift.
You should see his legs.
I did a sodium load yesterday just for this because I knew I would be on camera. So I ate a bunch of Spam.
Oh my god! Who loads sodium?
That's right. Hey, get at me for those programs. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're looking for what kind of protein he's ingesting.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk about. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys. Hold tight, stay there, and thanks, guys. I should be back next Tuesday with another live, but we'll see. I know things get a little bit busy, but I appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. Make sure you like, follow, all those good things, and like I say, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers, boys. We will see you when we see you.
Love you, man. Have a good one.